year had passed since the events of Murrayfield Stadium, since Abbott died, since Pete died. Dani had given birth to a healthy baby girl she named Margaret Olivia Kirkman, after her mother and auntie. Dani had fallen into a deep depression before giving birth. While she was still very much suffering with the loss of Pete, having Margaret in her life made her feel slightly better. They had worked hard over the year to rebuild the community in Murrayfield Stadium, and things were finally looking up. The dead had not been too much trouble, and patrols went out every day looking for survivors and supplies, often reported that the horde which had attacked them had not been seen. Dani was leading the community with Roach as second in command, an interim leader as Dani looked after Margaret. Julia had been made head of patrols and Jake the head of security, but people were happy with the community that Dani had created. Dani was sitting in her office, looking over a map of the cities, areas which had been picked off, crossed out with a large red X. A knock on the door interrupted her thoughts.
Yep.
Hey, boss.
Roach, I have asked you so many times not to call me that. You're as much as a leader as me.
Aye, but you're so much better than I am. Anyway, how you doing?
I'm getting there. Margaret has just gone down. It's given me a chance to look over this map at long last. We're slowly running out of places to look.
I had a meeting with Julia the other day, and she's planning on hitting the Balmoral again next week. But that'll take them out a few days.
That's all right. We have people here. I'm not too concerned.
Anyway, the reason I came to see you, Phil on the gate has just radioed to tell us that this is now the third time he has noticed someone hanging about outside. He says they look lost and thinks we should let them in. I have reminded him that we can't just let anyone in, but it might be worth having a look.
Surely that's Jake's responsibility. What's he doing?
He's speaking to the tunnel crew about expansion and what they need.
Ah, shit, yeah. Okay, let's go and have a look. Hold on. Lucy, would you mind coming and looking after Margaret, please?
Yes, ma'am, of course.
Cheers. Dani out.
Dani and Roach left the office, making their way through the front yard towards the gates of Murrayfield Stadium.
Hey, Phil! Open the gate! Roach, be ready!
Go.
As the gates opened up slowly, Dani and Roach were standing holding their rifles, watching the doors open. They opened enough for them to see out, and they noticed a woman limping towards them, her dark blonde hair hanging over her face. She was wearing a torn, bloody, covered black jumpsuit, and as she reached forward, she looked up, and Dani recognised her straight away.
Roach!
Help me!
Stop! Don't come any closer. I said stop!
Dani! Help me, please.
Take her to medical, and then she goes into the hold. She is not to come into the community.
Dani, really?
Roach, she cannot be trusted. She goes into the hold, and I will go to her.
Whatever you say.
Roach took Rose to the medical wing, as Dani made her way back to the office. She stopped past the graveyard that had been created of all the people who had died in the community, including Pete. Weathered flowers sat atop the grave. She picked them up and put them in her pocket, and then she spoke.
I'm trying, Pete. I'm trying. It's just so difficult isn't the word. Challenging? If it's not one thing, it's another. Margaret is not sleeping. Cal, well, he's gone off into his own little world. Barely see him nowadays. He didn't deal well with losing you. Fuck, none of us have. I miss you so fucking much. Right, I better go and deal with this Rose thing. I'll come back and get you some fresh flowers. Love you.
She placed her hand on the cross that had been made for Pete, resting it there for a moment before leaving. She carefully stepped over the graves, being sure not to stand on top of them, and made her way towards the office. As she passed people tending to the crops and waved as she went past, and in the corner she could see people training with training dummies, learning how to stab into the heads of the infected. Others were shooting paintballs at targets. She climbed the stairs to the office and entered.
Hey, Lucy. She's still asleep?
Yeah, not stirred once. Boss, are you okay?
I will be. Just a lot going on with Margaret, and I'm worried about Cal.
Yeah, the teachers have been saying he's being naughty. Still struggling with losing Pete?
He's just not talking to me now. You know? When he died, Cal opened up. For the first time in years, I felt we had a connection, and I thought, brilliant, I have my little brother back. But then he just stopped. I don't know, guess he's growing up?
Yeah, listen, I will keep an eye on him. You don't need to worry. You just focus on raising this little lady.
Yeah, thanks, Lucy. Means a lot. Right, I better go and see what is going on in the medical wing. Thanks for looking after her.
No problem. Good luck.
Dani left the office, heading down the metal steps and turning, making her way towards the medical wing. A large white tent set up with beds and all manner of medical equipment. She walked past several beeping machines and turned left through a set of double doors. And as she went to open, Roach appeared by her side.
She's in here, Dani. She seems delusional. She wants to speak to Pete.
Well, she doesn't know that Pete's dead, does she?
This is true. Come on.
Dani! Oh, Dani, it's so good to see you.
Stop. Don't start. What are you doing here?
Dani, please. I need your help.
What makes you think that I'm going to help you? After what you did to us? You have another thing coming. You can get basic treatment. Then you're leaving.
Dani, that's a bit harsh, is it not?
Harsh! Harsh! This bitch tried to tell me I had to kill innocent people. When I refused, she told me she would kick me out and kill Pete. So no, it isn't harsh, Roach. I think it's perfectly fucking civil.
Dani, if you give me a moment to explain, I can sit down with you, Pete, Roach and Cal and explain.
I am going to say this only once, and you will listen. Don't you ever mention Pete in my presence. You will keep any thought of my family out of your fucking head. You will get basic treatment and you will leave. Do you understand?
Where is Pete anyway? Out on patrol?
Give me a reason. God, please, give me a fucking reason.
Dani, stop. Control yourself.
It's all right, Roach. Let her pull the trigger. It becomes easier and easier to do. She'll soon see that.
She has 10 minutes. Then she is out. I don't want to see her face in here anymore.
That was close.
Yeah, it was. Listen, why are you here?
The time has come, Roach. They're coming, and because of our understanding, I felt it prudent to come and tell you first.
You told me we had 6 months.
Well, they've pulled the trigger on it, and they want them now.
You have to give me time.
You don't have time. It's either shit or get off the pot time. Make a decision.
She's family, Rose.
Think of the bigger picture, Roach. The kids, they're the answer. The answer to all of this. It's time they did their part for the reborn, for the future of the human race.
Fuck. Fine, I'll sort it.
Has to be done today.
I said I'll sort it.
Roach stormed out of the hospital room, leaving Rose all alone. She leant back against her pillow, her arms crossed behind her head, and she smiled. The Fallen, an Eerie Earth production, written, directed, and edited by Kieran Begg. Starring Megan Chase as Dani Cunningham, Andrew Lodge as Roach, Annie Potts as Rose, Jessica Nichol as Lucy. For more information, please follow us on all social media. Thanks very much for listening. And as always, bye-bye for now.